Today we are going to, we're gonna do the deployment of the Marketing Cloud ID. We're gonna go through all of the steps, talk about them in detail. There are videos that I've created up to this point where we discuss what are all the details related to these steps I'm gonna go over. So I will link to all those videos. But yeah, and I'm gonna have this chocolate and I'm gonna drink this espresso. The last couple videos I've used paper, pencil, or marker, or something along those lines. Like I said, I think it's a little bit more human. And I have this notebook that I found on Amazon. I think it's pretty cool. See, I'm left-handed, and when this spiral notebook is on the left-hand side, it rubs against my hand, and I don't like that. It screws up my writing, and so I always try to find something where it flips up or there's a spiral. The spiral is nice because it flips all the way over. And this is nice and square, so it's kind of funky. Yeah. Paper and pencils. I have gray hair, and so these things are cool. I put together 7 steps that outline the deployment of MCID. So let's begin with number 1, RDC. So video below explains what RDC is, but this, I begin here. Technically, you don't have to begin here. RDC and MCID are both prerequisites for all the shared functionality, and so you could do them out of order. But I generally, if a customer that I'm talking to has a C name, I generally recommend starting here. 2, update your code. So I think analytics is going to be the biggest update. Generally speaking, that is the biggest effort, is to update the app measurement and analytics, especially if that hasn't been done in a while. If it's been done previously, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But if it hasn't been done, if you kind of let things build up within your implementation and made it a bit of a mess, then this is going to require a little bit of work. Again, I put this more to the front to get it out of the way because generally speaking, it is more work. But if it's not, then awesome. And use DTM, and Launch is the new version of tag management from Adobe that's coming out this year. So inside of DTM, analytics would be a tool. Inside of Launch, DTM will be an extension, or excuse me, analytics will be an extension. And so, yeah, I don't think there's a really good reason not to use it, but there's plenty of reasons to use it. We're moving right along. 3. Deploy visitor API.js. So, and to do that, you're going to need to know your org ID. Link below on how to find that. Org ID, as you may be aware based upon some of the earlier videos, is what MCID, well, what is used to create the MCID. So your org ID belongs to your Marketing Cloud org account. Deploying visitor API.js should be pretty straightforward. Has to be high on the page. Has to be the first thing. Again, DTM or Launch. DTM, this will be the Marketing Cloud tool. Inside of Launch, it's an extension. Past the halfway point. Update at.js or move to at.js if you haven't updated it. And then also A4T or Analytics for Target. That's something that you're going to want to decide, should I use this? But at.js, like, again, getting on the latest and remaining on the latest code base for the particular products is good practice. So definitely make that migration if you haven't. And if you have, just make sure you're on the latest code. 5, remove dill.js. Remove? Yes, actually, if you're using MCID and you are an Audience Manager customer using analytics or have analytics in Audience Manager, then you don't really need dill anymore. So you can leverage server-side forwarding. And server-side forwarding is actually a really good thing. It allows for all the analytics data, all the variables to be sent directly to Audience Manager server-side as traits. And it also allows for Audience Manager audiences to be seen inside of analytics and used for analysis. So really good thing. You can remove the dill code and you just need to add a module to your analytics file for the server-side forwarding. So again, more documentation below. Grace period. Grace period is something that's very important to understand and to leverage. This, again, applies only to analytics customers, but what this is fundamentally it allows for analytics to continue to use the analytics ID, the legacy ID, after MCID has been deployed. And the reason that you would want to do this is if you had multiple code assets. Maybe you have multiple sites or multiple different implementations on a single site, and you can't update them all at once. And that's a really pretty typical thing. So if you can't update them all at once, then grace period allows analytics to function as it did before MCID until you are able to finish that entire implementation. So grace period should start when you deploy the first site with MCID, and it should end when you finish the last site. And this is something that you can request that client care enable. And then the last item, provisioning. So all of the shared functionality needs provisioning. It's something that you need to request from client care. They'll have you fill out some forms. There's going to be some functionality, customer attributes, shared audiences, analytics for target, all will need a provisioning request. Server-side forwarding for Audience Manager can be set up with inside the interface. And that's it. Like I said, when I started this video and many of the other videos that support this, deploying MCID is not terribly difficult. It's just the devil's in the detail. And oftentimes you can find all of this documentation. I've linked a lot of documentation below. You can find it and you can leverage all of it. It's just kind of understanding how the order should go. So please subscribe. If you like this, please like it. Not sure what to do if you don't like it. I don't know, maybe just grumble underneath your breath. Talk to you later.